Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you on the event, which is the widerAdvance Facility Info Day. My name is Katarzyna Walczyk-Matuszyk. I have an opportunity to be the coordinator of this initiative, and on behalf of the entire consortium and all the speakers you will be able to listen today, I would like to cordially welcome you to today's event. But before we will go into details. I have some questions for you. So please have a look and reflect. Do you know how to valorize knowledge and results of your EU projects? Or are you struggling with your exploitation and dissemination obligations? Or maybe do you need support in IP or standardization in regard to your research results? Or are you lacking connections with the ecosystem to commercialize your research results? And last but not least, do you need more funding for the future R&I projects? If you have replied yes to at least any one of this question, it means that you are in the right place and in the right moment, because in a minute, you will be able to know the services which are offered by the widerAdvance facility. But before going to that, please take your phone now, scan the QR code Slido, because it will be helpful if you will have any questions. We will collect your questions throughout the whole event, the presentation, the 6 speakers which are ahead of you, and those questions will be displayed at the end of today's event, and we will be able to take them on board and reply to those questions of your interest. So the last 5 seconds, a chance for you to scan the QR code before we will go into details. So let me just give you a brief overview of the widerAdvance facility. So as you know, this is an initiative which will help you already with some concerns you have in regard to the exploitation and dissemination of your research results and project results. widerAdvance facility is a European project funded by Horizon Europe from the widera package. It has a duration of 48 months. We just started this year. The 1st January was a kickoff, and we will last upon the end of 2028. Our main goal is to provide tailored services, expert services, free of charge services for widening countries. So under the widerAdvance facility, you will find the support related to IP, standardization, dissemination, exploitation, capacity building, with the aim to transform research results into real-world impact. So what we deal with is the exploitation, the valorization of knowledge. This is our project consortium. We have 17 partners, and we gather here excellent expertise of individual service providers. Like, we lost the presentation, but I hope it will be back. Like Meta Group, like Trust IT, like Icon, like Unicorn, many others who will work with your teams on the selected problems. But also we have an excellent network of local partners all over Europe and beyond, also in outermost regions, who are there for you when you are interested to use our services and you would like to also learn more. Moreover, the local partners will also provide you online and on-site events which are dedicated to these aspects. So for whom is the widerAdvance facility? We are working with organizations from widening countries and outermost regions. The formal requirement at this stage is that the organization should be a coordinator or a partner in widening projects, those funded from Horizon Europe or Horizon 2020. Those projects can be running or they can be finalized. They can be already closed. It doesn't matter if you had one of the projects at the beginning of Horizon 2020 is closed, but it provides you, your organization, the opportunity to participate. Now, within the organization, we are working with both research teams, so the research staff who is responsible and is owning the key exploitable results, But also we are working with the research managers and administrators, tech transfer people, IPO officers, and management of the organization. So these are the people. And I also mentioned that the teams should have the ownership of the key exploitable results, which should be a subject of the services. And last but not least, we consider those key exploitable results quite broad. So those might be directly generated within widening web actions. It means finance from widening actions, but also they can be indirectly linked. For example, they can be a follow-up. You had a twinning some years ago, there was a knowledge created, and after some years, you created more knowledge based on, or more results based on what was elaborating in the twinning, and this is, of course, eligible to bring it to the facility. Or while doing a widening project, parallel to this, in the connection of somehow with the, let's say, complementary funding or other funding, you also generated some research results which are related to the widening actions to some extent, then also they are eligible to bring to the facility. Here are the actions which are the entry point to the facility. So if your organization was or is a coordinator of or a partner in one of those actions from Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe, running or finalized, then you are eligible. And these actions are ERA Chairs, ERA Talents, Excellence Hubs, European Excellence Initiative, Hop On, Facility Pathways to Synergy, Teaming for Excellence Phase 2, twinning for Western Balkans, widening ERA fellowships, and as a cherry on the top, we also allow the beneficiaries of cost innovation actions to have the access to our services. Now, what is the facility offering? So now you know why we are here, which areas are we tackling, for whom, how to, let's say, who is eligible, and now what we are offering, let's say, from a broader perspective. The large portfolio of our services are individual tailored services. This is the advisory, this is coaching, and this is expert support to the research teams and research managers and administrators teams. These are related to the key exploitable results. We always work individually with the results. Then there are also online capacity building and awareness raising services. So there is a series of webinars which strengthen or provide you relevant knowledge or also tools that could support you in the exploitation dissemination process. And last but not least, we also have a series of on-site events for building links with local ecosystem, also like peer learning and networking. And all of this is supported by our dissemination efforts, which build visibility, not only of widerAdvance facility, but first of all, of the beneficiaries of our services. So we want also you to become famous with your service, with your results. So widerAdvance facility is a one-stop shop for valorization services. We have here Dissemination and Exploitation Academy, which improves the maturity of selected key exploitable results. You will learn about the academies in a second. We have support with intangible assets via specialized coaching. You will also know the support for the IP in details. Support with standardization, with specialized coaching. Also, a colleague from Just IT will present it. Preparation to match with third parties. So how we prepare you to collaborate with the ecosystem. This will be also presented. Then awareness and training webinars. What topics, how to participate, where you can find the relevant invitations and information. Matchmaking on-site events between research team and relevant innovation stakeholders, like those who are interested in commercializing your solutions or elaborate with you further stages. Study visits, we have one soon, and you will be able to know the details, and you also will be invited to join. And last but not least, what is very important also in the valorization is follow-up funding. So we offer training, coaching, and mutual learning on synergies with other EU instruments which are eligible in widening countries and outermost region. And this will be also presented to you in details. So what are our targets? So we aim to support 1,000 individuals across Europe with those individual services on-site, online. Then it means that we will work with more than 100 organizations, universities, research institutes, companies, whoever is a coordinator or a partner in a widening action and can enter the facility. And last but not least, we want to increase the maturity level of 750 key exploitable results, either directly stemming from widening action or being indirectly connected. And last but not least, our KPI is also related to the increased recognition of widening beneficiaries in relevant countries at the European, national, and regional level. So we want to show you your case studies, your key exploitable results, and also how you manage to valorize them. So, from a point of view, if you are an organization, why should you apply to the facility? And what will you get actually free of charge? So you will get an individual plan how to effectively disseminate and exploit your research results. So what can you do with this result? What can you do with the other, the third one, the fourth one, to commercialize, to transfer them, to valorize? Then also you will receive an indication with follow-up funding. If your research needs to be more mature in terms, let's say, of TRL or adoption readiness level, you still need some investment before commercialization. You will get also from us indication. What kind of funding can it be? Where can you find it? Then staff trained on dissemination exploitation. This is an entry point to receive very specialized information, knowledge, to build the knowledge related to the aspects which are mandatory in the European projects, but also to the aspects which in practical matters helps you with the valorization. And your team, the knowledge will stay in your organization, because after this training, your teams will be equipped with relevant capacities. Links with industry, this is an investor. We will prepare you firstly to collaborate with industry, VCs, other investors, but also we will create a space, physical space, when you will be able to meet them. They will be coming from your region, from your country, but also from Europe and maybe beyond. And last but not least, promotion of your achievements once in the pipeline. We will be happy to share with the European, national, and regional community the information about your organization, your excellence, and your key exploitable research results. And this is a service journey which we are going to discuss in details today during the meeting. So you will learn about the application process and about each of the service in a very brief way. So basically, in a nutshell. And if you will be interested, you are very much welcome to not only ask questions today, but also to write to us and, of course, to apply. So let me briefly start this journey with the application process. We call it an application, but indeed, this is rather an registration. This is our website, widerAdvance facility, where there is a green button apply. You just press this button. You have to register an account, which is very simple, open an account, and then you will have access to the application form where you put very simple information, contact details, name of the organization, name of the widening action you have in your portfolio, finalized on running, and where you report key exploitable research results you want to bring into the facility. So how we operate, when is the best moment to apply? We are not going the principle first come, first serve, but we have a call. The call was open on May this year and will be running until 2028. We have every 3 months a cutoff. So after 3 months, every 3 months, we are collecting the applications. We are assessing the applications if they are formally eligible, and if yes, then our team will contact you for, let's say, further details to specify, to discuss more about the key exploitable results and to specify the portfolio of key exploitable results you want to bring to the facility, and also who from your side will be able to participate. So both researchers, research managers, administrators, tech transfer people, and also the management of the organization is of course invited. There will be 12 cutoffs. The next one is the end of January 2026. So this is the right moment for you to be interested in the widerAdvance facility services and to apply. The following cutoff will be there, of course, in 3 months. What are the priorities for the next cutoff? So we will prioritize the applications with the highest number of key exploitable results. Of course, there are no lower or upper limits. How many key exploitable results you can bring to the facility? You can come with one. If you find that the one has the potential for valorization, you can come up with 10, 20. This is up to you. You have to do the job in the organization, how many widening projects you have in your portfolio, and how many there are key exploitable results stemming from those projects directly or indirectly, and bring them all, actually. I will have a word on this in a second. Then the priority will be given to the following thematic domain, like health, culture and inclusive society, civil security, digital and space, climate and mobility, food and environment. As you see, those are the same as the clusters under Horizon Europe. So basically, we cover actually the entire innovation, the entire scope of innovation, and it's bottom up. So if you think if your key exploitable results match to health or civil security, just please report them. Most mature cars, we don't put a limitation that the key exploitable results should be at least a level 4 or something. No, you can bring the results regardless the technology readiness level you have as well in your portfolio. We will be working with those which are at the beginning of the TRL scale, but also those which are advanced. The most important thing is that you should see the potential for the valorization. And of course, while selecting the applications, we need to optimize widerAdvance facility use of resources. Now, what is important, what you should know before you apply, that we follow the principle of geographical balance. We don't want to concentrate our services in the countries where there are a lot of projects only. We want to provide the access to the facility equally to actually every widening country and the outermost region. So this is quite important. Now, the other point, as you see, only one application per organization per cutoff. This is extremely important for you. What does it mean in practice? This means that before applying to the if your research team, let's say, if your faculty or a research team has widening projects in the portfolio and you have some key exploitable results, please, before applying to the facility, have a word with your research managers, administrators, or management, or other faculties, and find out if there are in the organization there are some other widening projects. And contact the people. Let's say manage to provide a single application per organization. So bring all the key exploitable research results you have in the portfolio per organization. So for example, let's say the university from Poland, faculty A has 3 widening projects, 3 twinnings, faculty B has AirActure, and faculty C has excellence hubs. So you are able to bring the key exploitable results stemming from all these 3 faculties, all of these widening projects, and also all the teams which are behind those key exploitable results are eligible to participate in the facility. Why is that? Because once the organization is selected and provided the support, then it has a lower priority. Once again, I would like to stress that we work with organizations, not only single teams. So what we want to provide you is as well as sustainability for the future, practical knowledge and tools which will stay in the organization, and later on you will be able to use it as well on your own for the valorization of further key exploitable research results. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this was a very brief introduction. Like, I hope I showed you the umbrella of our services. From now on, you will be able to know the services in details, each of them individual, but also information on the events, on the follow-up funding. And I would like at this stage provide the floor to my colleague, Marika Kowalska, who will from this moment handle the moderation of the event. Once again, please scan the Slido. You see here, this is the same QR code as I showed in the beginning. You can scan the Slido code and you will be able to ask the questions. As mentioned, we collect the questions from now on. So Marika, please, if you could now take the moderation and invite the next speakers. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Kasia. Thank you for the introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next part. We now move to individual services in practice. So it's my pleasure to introduce Lorenzo Barabani from Meta Group, a widerAdvance project partner responsible for the Dissemination Exploitation Academy, as well as support on matching and pitching. So Meta is based in Italy and brings extensive experience in EU-funded projects. So Lorenzo, the floor is yours. Please.
Thank you very much, Marika. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I think so. Okay, yes, great. So, good morning, everyone. Dissemination and Exploitation Academy. This is what we are used to call the entry-level service for research teams and key exploitable results, because this is a capacity building program which has the main aim of improving the skills of participants on valorization issues, so exploitation and dissemination, which are at the basis for enhancement of the impact of research results. Generation of an impact, as highlighted by Katarzyna many times, is a contractual obligation in European projects. So all participants to a research project should contribute to generate an impact which can be of different typologies, not only commercial one, could be political one, could be a scientific one, could be a societal one. So when we are addressing key exploitable results, we are not only talking about technology-based key exploitable results, so typically key exploitable results that are related to commercialization, but we are talking about many different typologies of key exploitable results, which in the end should generate an impact through putting them in use. So the main concept behind the Dissemination and Exploitation Academy is no use, no impact. So if you don't make use of your key exploitable result, you will not generate any impact. And this is the main objective of the Dissemination and Exploitation Academy in terms of support. To whom is dedicated the Academy? To, in principle, the main target are the research teams who are dealing with the valorization of the key exploitable results. Here we added also a word which is committed research teams, because the Dissemination and Exploitation Academy is a course which we'll see in the next slide, will take a bit of time and commitment from participant side. So this is why we need really committed research teams, because research teams will have to do homework, will have to collaborate, provide information to the experts to receive support. Also, research managers and administrators can participate to the dissemination and exploitation academies because they can learn how to better support research teams in the future. They will learn about how to use methodologies, tools that are shared by our experts in the dissemination and exploitation academies. So it should be a kind of learning experience for them. How does it work? How the academies are delivered? As you can see from the picture, first of all, there is an upper limit to the participant of the academies, which is 15 research teams, each representing obviously a key exploitable results. So due to resource allocation, we had to set this limit to the number of potential participants or to the participants of the academy. This is structured in workshops and collective workshops and individual coaching sessions. So basically, there are 3 collective workshops which are attended by all the 15 research teams. As you can see here, the introductory workshop, the review workshop, and the finalization workshop. 2 of them are online. 1 is in presence. The workshops will basically used to introduce concepts, to introduce tools, and to give homework to participants. And between 2 consecutive workshops, the participants, the research teams, have available 8 hours of individual coaching provided by our experts to clarify or to provide tailored support on what they are supposed to develop. So in that case, they can specifically talk about their key exploitable results, about the specific situation with an expert, and receive individualized coaching. Here we indicated an average commitment time from participant side, which is at least 8-10 days of active involvement. I mean, this means participation. This includes participation to the workshops, to the individual coaching sessions, but also the time dedicated to do the homework. Obviously, this timing may vary from case to case, depending on several factors. For example, if the information required in the homework is ready to be provided, obviously research teams don't have to spend that much time in elaborating. If the information required by the expert is not available and needs to be discussed or prepared, obviously there is a need of a bit more time to work it out. So it depends a bit on each specific situation of the different research teams. Who is delivering the academies? They are delivering by specialized experts who have already delivered this kind of formats and this kind of services several times in the past. Generally, there are 2 senior experts involved and 1 junior expert from our side who are available at the workshops and in the individual coaching sessions. Why is it useful to participate, and we consider this academy as the entry-level service. What are the takeaways from this service? So at the end of the academy is what you will have in your hands. First of all, our experts will support you in defining clear use models for your key exploitable results. So identifying how you should secure the use and the adoption of your key exploitable results in the future. This includes also a clear definition of the value proposition of your key exploitable results. So why someone else should adopt and use your key exploitable results. These two elements very often are not clearly defined within projects by research teams. And these are key elements of a dissemination on an exploitation strategy, which is another element you will get from the academy. So experts will help you in defining structured and coherent dissemination and exploitation strategies for your key exploitable results. Then, depending on the maturity level of your key exploitable results, this dissemination exploitation strategy could also become a draft business plan. But again, this depends on the nature and the maturity level of the key exploitable results. The experts will also, once define the strategy, the experts will also help you and support you in identifying the next steps. So defining the plans you have to put in place to reach an impact, to obtain an impact in the long term. Finally, since I told you this is the entry-level service, this means that once you went through the academy, experts will be in the position to suggest you and recommend you other services, the other services that you will hear about in the next slides, if experts realize that you reached a certain level of maturity and readiness with your key exploitable results. So this is a entry-level service, but this is also a preparatory service for all the rest of individual support services. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Lorenzo. So right now, I would like to remind our guests that it's still open, so you can ask questions, and our presenters will answer at the end of the webinar. And right now, I would like to pass the floor to our next speaker, who will focus on support with intellectual property rights. So I'm pleased to welcome Alex Siroy from Unico, a widerAdvance partner responsible for IPR-related services within the facility. So Unico is a Czech company that works at the intersection of innovation, technology transfer, and research impact. So Alex, over to you.
Thank you, Marika, and thank you, Lorenzo, as well, for the introduction of the DNA Academy. One just small correction, Unico is now a Czech-Croatian company, just so you know, in case you are in the Western Balkans and also looking to maybe connect with us over the widerAdvance facility, that we have an office in Zagreb, and we're happy to meet you somewhere in the region. So what is the IP service? So Lorenzo and his team will be kind of focusing on helping you understand your market potential and building out your value proposition. And we will be tacking onto that, if you will, by helping you discover the barriers to entry, but also the opportunities that your value proposition has in terms of IP. So that is what we would call the IP strategy and path to commercialization, so at an earlier stage. But we also provide support at sort of a later stage. And though we're still talking about TRLs 4 through 5, At the later stage, what we're looking for is, which we haven't had yet, so I do urge you to apply with some carriers that are maybe closer to the market. What we would support you with there is, sort of licensing and preparing you to sell or to spin out your IP. So giving you really sort of hands-on consultancy services, holding your hand as you prepare to negotiate those final steps before you commercialize. So those are the two types of services, and I'll delve deeper into both of them now. In terms of the IP strategy and path to commercialization, we look for carers, so research teams, but also we invite research managers, technology transfer staff to join in all of our meetings. So the service looks at like a kickoff in which we understand the potential of the carers, perhaps because they've been sent from the DNA Academy and there's been some work done in there, or because they're a bit more mature and they've been sent directly to us. And we really understand what the sort of market potential is, and with that we go and we walk you through sort of the IP, not only of the competitors but also the IP value intrinsically that your IP may have. So we conduct a sort of early stage benchmarking of IP in terms of freedom to operate, so helping you understand what the barriers to entry are, but also what the valuations of competition's IP is, so that you can kind of have an understanding of what value you maybe would be looking for in a later stage when you begin to negotiate commercialization or consider it. And therefore, we provide you with very clear and actionable recommendations for IP protection. And this includes your geographic coverage, where we think, especially in relation to the FTO, it would make the most sense for you to engage in your business case, but also in terms of business plans. So what we believe the next steps should be, generally speaking. Maybe there's some overlap there between the work of the DNA Academy and the IP services as well. Finally, in terms of our strategic recommendations, we're also making sure that it's aligned with the business strategy, so that you are entering markets that again make the most sense, so that you are understanding the potential sort of pitfalls of IP ownership, especially very often when we're looking at consortia agreements where there's several different partners, where there's a lot of shared IP ownership. We really help you disentangle what is yours and maybe what is of a collaborator's, and we provide you sort of clear, implementable recommendations as to how we believe you should maybe approach disentangling that IP. So this is really giving you sort of an early roadmap as to who your competitors may be, which markets would make the most sense for you to enter, where you should consider protecting your IP, and potentially also how to make sure that this IP is actually something that is yours and you will be able to either protect or you'll be able to commercialize therefore. So as mentioned, this lasts about 6 weeks from kickoff to conclusion, but we do understand that there is research teams that are working on several projects in parallel. And it's important to know that we are a little bit flexible there, but again, it's a two-way street. So we rely on your inputs as much as you rely on ours. At a later stage, what we call the support with IP negotiations, we again are looking at research teams and technology transfer offices if they would like to be included, and we help them approach investors and get ready to spin out or get ready to license or get ready to sell outright. And again, here from start to finish, we're looking at 6 weeks from the kickoff until we deliver you one of many outputs. And the way that it works is in the kickoff, we kind of understand where you are and what services you need, and we agree mutually what would make the most sense. So some of the outputs we would maybe provide here are sort of a negotiation strategy, a term sheet, potentially sort of a template with the best alternative scenario, so that you can kind of approach the negotiations knowing what it's worth, knowing what your sort of goes and no-goes are, and really having a firm footing. We also can provide competition benchmarking. So again, this relates not only to the business case of competitors, but more so to the valuations of competitors, so that you can engage in negotiations knowing how much your IP is worth. We provide commercialization documents such as license agreement templates and the aforementioned term sheets as well. And in certain selected cases where we have established that there really is a lot of potential, and also you are already perhaps negotiating at a later stage in negotiations, be it with the institutions, so be it as the research team negotiating with the TTO, or potentially in some scenario in which you have an investor helping you just sort of understand exactly how to approach this and how much you should be getting out of this. And there we are willing to provide an extra 30 days of additional consultancy. So, providing you with all of the strategic outlook, with all of the documents, doing the analysis, and then also being available on call whenever you need us to answer some questions, even to sit in on the meetings to understand what's going on, to be able to provide you with real steering advice afterwards. But also sometimes all that's required is just for us to sort of be the intermediary perhaps between the TTO and between the research team. So just ensuring that sort of communication channels are open, that they're clear, and that everyone is on the same page. So quite, I would say, a vast spectrum of services that we offer, going from sort of very early stage research to later stages in which you're beginning your commercialization pathway. Once again, I encourage you, no matter the level of maturity of your care or your key exploiter result, to apply. But also we really appreciate when technology transfer officers and RMAs are engaged, because there's sort of an added value of getting the institutional perspective and also perhaps some institutional lessons learned. I look forward to any questions at the end. Thank you all.
Thank you, Alex. That was insightful and presenting your vast, services related to IPR. So I believe it was very insightful for the participants here. So now let's move on to the next subjects. We turn to a topic that is increasingly important for impact and market uptake, so standardization. And this part will be presented by Rita Meneses from Trust IT, a widerAdvance facility partner providing support on the standardization and its integration into research and innovation projects. So Rita, please speak up.
Hi, thank you, Marika, and good morning, everyone. So, focus on the standardization service. You may wonder, what is this about? So, just like the other services that were presented, this is also a free and a personal guidance to help you to benefit from the impact that standardization can have in your key exportable results. So, the main benefits are, let's say, long story short, it will increase the market impact of your results thanks to standardization, which are basically pre-normative activities. And the other main benefit is that your result will be aligned with very important standardization frameworks, which have an impact not only in your country, but also in Europe and all around the world. So the thing is, you may think to yourself, why I should apply to this service? What will be the results? Why should I use my time on this? So there are several benefits, and going more into detail, from those two we just mentioned is, so if you take into account standards when developing and further promoting your results, you naturally increase the competitiveness of your result, not only in Europe, but also worldwide. And the thing is, if you apply to this service, we don't only help you with, let's say, applying standards, let's say, in your result, but will also help you to navigate within the standardization landscape, which is huge. You have standard development organizations, you have working groups, and sometimes people feel kind of overwhelmed if you aren't familiar with these topics, and we are here to help you out. And also, as said, by applying standards, we also increase the impact of your result in the market where you want to focus on. And one important aspect, which is, if you embrace standardization, you get to network with a wider group of individuals, not only in your, let's say, working bubble, but people from other backgrounds, like from industry, civil society, research communities, but also, of course, from standardization bodies. So some examples of activities you can get by being part of this service. So we'll help you with technical specifications, we'll help you to liaise with technical committees, help you also define strategies to adopt the standards that are relevant to you, and others. Naturally, we will help you to navigate and implement certain outcomes based on the results you have. And from this, so as it was already mentioned by Katarzyna and my colleagues, there are some requirements for you to apply to any services from the widerAdvance facility project. However, within this service, there is an additional requirement which is important to highlight. So your result, it has to have a minimum technology readiness level of 4. So technology readiness level is like a diagram, as you can see on the slide, where you classify how mature is your result. In order for you to get selected and to be eligible to have support through this service, is important you have a TRL, technology readiness level, of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. This is an important requirement. And just an important note, so within this project, we are available to provide 15 editions on standardization. So if you are interested, we advise you to apply very soon to increase the probability for you to have a spot. But even so, you may also want to yourself, I have a result, but does my result can benefit from this service? Is from a certain field that you can provide support on? Yes, of course. So the thing is, the standardization activities, people usually think they are mostly focused on ICT, but not only. We have, for example, standards on health, on pandemics. We also have standards on climate resilience, standards on supply chain, and also we have standards on IT, like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, 5G, 6G, and so on, and so on, and so on. So don't be afraid to apply. If you wonder if your sector, let's say, is eligible, you just apply. As you can see, we provide support in several different fields. And who's going to provide support? So you have at your fingertips a wide group of experts who have a long experience on standardization bodies, from national to international, let's say, landscape. They all have experience within research and industry sector, and they are available to support you. And naturally, based on the application we'll receive, then what we'll select, we will match you with the best expert to provide you the support that you really need. To conclude, you may wonder, I'm interested, I want to apply, but how much time this would require from me? Very simple. So the service overall will take 2 months, but you can count between 2 and 3 meetings with the expert we are going to allocate to you. Okay, so at least 2 meetings you'll have to attend, maybe 3, and the expert will provide the information that you need to fully benefit from the potential benefits that you can get from standardization activities. So with this is the standardization service. Naturally, I'm available to reply to any question you may have, and we'll be waiting for your applications. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rita, for your presentations and explaining our participants more about standardization. So, ladies and gentlemen, we heard so far about Dissemination Exploitation Academy. We heard about support with intellectual property rights. Now we had a presentation about standardization. So as you can see, widerAdvance facility supports a lot within your projects to increase the impact as much as possible. So now let's check what widerAdvance facility offers in terms of matching third parties and pitching. And I would like to give the floor once again to Lorenzo Barabani, our expert from Meta.
Thank you very much, Marika. So, preparation to match with third parties. What is it about? This is a coaching program, an advanced, let's say, coaching program, which has the main aim of facilitating discussions with different typologies of what we call third parties. Could be interested actors like investors, business partners, potential customers, research communities, etc. As I anticipated during the academy, the aim of the academy is to prepare strategies, exploitation strategies, valorization strategies, because we have to secure adoption and use of the research result by someone else. This someone else could be one of these actors, could be an investor, could be a business partner, could be a policymaker, could be any potential adopter or customer or a research community in case of a scientific result. So the point is that when you have to convince someone else to use and adopt your key exploitable results, you need to present your key exploitable results to the specific target audiences. And this is exactly the aim of this service. So better preparing you to present your key exploitable results to different audiences. So the main participants to this service are the research teams, obviously, who are the owners of key exploitable results. Obviously, in this case, the target are more mature key exploitable results because we have, by experience, we know that presenting the key exploitable results to a third party needs a good preparation behind. Also in terms of readiness, of having a clear exploitation discrimination strategy, having a clear plan for generating an impact. So access to this service will be provided only in certain cases when we verify that there are the conditions to access this in terms of readiness of research teams and readiness of the key exploitable results. This is also because the research teams that will participate to this service, or the most promising ones, will be also invited to participate to events that we will organize. So you will hear about events later on in the presentation, but I can anticipate that we are organizing some events, matchmaking events, where research teams can meet with other stakeholders. And in particular, those who will participate to this service will obviously increase their possibilities to raise attention of these stakeholders during these events. Again, also research managers and administrators can participate as a learning experience exactly in the same way as they can do during the academies. They can learn about methodologies and tools to be used to better prepare research teams to present their research results. How it is structured? Again, you can see from the picture, we have a limitation in terms of participants. The limitation is to 10 key exploitable results or research teams. Same. We still have a similar structure of the academies. We have 3 collective workshops and individual coaching sessions. The whole process will take around 3 months. Exact dates of the workshops, as we do for the academy, are decided case by case with all the participants. There are again 2 online sessions and 1 on-site, so in presence workshop, which is generally the final one. This is because these services will be organized alongside the organization of the events. So we will organize the final workshop, the final collective workshop, generally the day before of a matchmaking event. And during this occasion, we will support participants in simulating their pitching sessions, so their presentations, so that the day after they will be more ready and to be more effective when presenting to stakeholders. In terms of commitment, here again, You will receive support, but participants will have also to spend time in preparing their pitching decks, in finding the information to prepare the pitching decks. And the minimum commitment generally is 6 full days. Could be even more if, again, the information to be provided is not available or has to be worked out. Here, the support is provided by 2 experts, one senior and one junior. The experts providing these services are experienced one in pitching sessions, in presentations, with long-term experience in providing this typology of services. What you can get concretely from this service. At the end of the service, you will have a pitching deck, as I anticipated. So generally is prepared in PowerPoint. Sometimes can be also in terms of, you can also prepare a pitching video, but most of times it's a pitching deck that you can use to raise the interest of target stakeholders. That could be different one, as I anticipated in my previous slide. In terms of skill, you will receive also support to improve your presentation skills, your communication skills, because when using a pitching deck, it's not just about putting there the right content. It's also about the way you present the content of the pitching deck. And this is also part of the service, so the support you will receive. Experts will guide you on how to make your presentation and communication skills more effective to catch the attentions, raise the attention of target stakeholders. That's it for this service.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Indeed, that's the useful one, especially in terms that European Commission probably will include more and more pitching decks when it comes to the receiving funding. So it might be useful skill, not only in terms of funding, but also in general, presentation skills are important. So next, we look into online and on-site events offered within widerAdvance facility. We strongly encourage you to follow our upcoming activities, both online and in person, as events are the key entry to learning, networking, and peer exchange within widerAdvance facility. And now you will get a sense of how broad this offer really is. So this segment will be introduced by Vasiliki Kalodimou from IFORF, our partner from Greece, responsible for the design and delivery of these events. Once again, I would like to remind you that there is still a possibility to ask questions via Slido. So here's the QR code, or just go to slido.com and enter the numbers. So you could ask questions that will be answered at the end. So right now, thank you. And Vasiliki, please go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you, Marika, for passing me the floor. So it is time to talk to you about online and on-site events, which are services that complement what has already been described. So let's start with some of the services, but let me just put them in the framework of the service journey. So the service journey for the beneficiaries of the facility is still ongoing and will be complemented by online online training events, matchmaking with investors and potential early adopters of your technology, as well as with study visits. Now, what what each service module is about. We can start with webinars on dissemination and exploitation. Actually, they consist in two subcategories of activities of services, namely awareness-raising webinars and in-depth training webinars. Now, in respect of these webinars, these are webinars that aim to build capacities of stakeholders from widening countries. We divide them into the general awareness raising webinars and in-depth ones. The topics that they address, they relate to dissemination and exploitation, which these are also fall under the umbrella of knowledge valorization. You cannot imagine how many topics fall under dissemination and exploitation. For example, valorizing instruments of the EU, understanding how to treat dissemination and exploitation in Horizon Europe grants, utilizing networking platforms, understanding the valorization strategy of the EU, and many, many more are part of our webinar portfolio. But why do we offer this service? Because the widerAdvance facility is a one-stop shop where interested stakeholders, whether they are service beneficiaries or not, they are able to access many, many topics around dissemination and exploitation, okay, with just one click. All these interesting topics that are addressed will be dealt by experts from the European Commission, national contact points, representatives from EU initiatives like the Enterprise Europe Network, like the AP Help Desk or the EIT, as well as professionals from innovation support agencies that are part of this consortium. Please don't forget that the in-depth training webinars are exclusively dedicated to the beneficiaries of the facilities, and indicative topics can include transition to entrepreneurship, early tech transfer from bench to market, IP scan, standardization, etc. Now, next service module is brokerage event for consortia formation. We understand that no matter where, at what state of adoption readiness is your technological result or your non-technological result, you will always need collaborations that are international, interdisciplinary, and intersectoral. These are at the heart of dissemination and exploitation, and for taking further your idea and making it into innovation. Okay, so we will be compiling brokerage events that are organized at EU landscape, and we will be offering these to the service facilities. Why? Because then we will be providing to our service beneficiaries a very informative tool to access comprehensive information, as well as information not only about major events, but potential support schemes about facilitating your travels there. Now, next service module are study visits. Study visits are actually a service for the research managers and administrators, okay, with a special focus on tech transfer specialists. Okay, now, actually, these are group visits once per year to excellent research-based organizations from widening countries. We do that because we would like to facilitate access to excellent practice, which is at the heart of the European research area, and assist non-research teams as well to expand their collaborative networks, see best practices of other organizations in widening countries, as well as apply lessons learned back home. The main takeaway is that that through this service we would like to help in sustaining dissemination and exploitation capacities through education. Our first study visit is in Prague between the 9th and the 10th of February, and it's called From Research to Impact and Learning from Prague's Innovation Ecosystem through organized workshops and visits. For example, to the National Library of Technology, to the oldest and most research-intensive university of the Czech Republic, the Charles University, through visiting a very important European research infrastructure, the LASER, BMI, and as well as by visiting the European Digital Innovation Hub, and also have interactive workshops, just such as, for example, From Lab to Market. Now, last service module under the umbrella of events is the matchmaking and open days. As my colleague Lorenzo said, these are services available, this event, to selected key exploitable results and their research teams. Actually, these are on-site regional events specifically designed by the project, bottom up, where the main target, where the main focus is to invite industry representatives, early stage investors, the European Commission, policymakers, SMEs, to know about your key exploitable results and engage in meaningful conversation. These stakeholders can be your next level adopters, or can facilitate you at the end of the day to identify or locate your next level adopters. So we facilitate access and networking with important stakeholders while we try to enhance the visibility of research teams from widening countries, which are also beneficiaries to the facility. That was all from my part. Thank you very much. And I would like to give the floor back to Marika.
Thank you very much, Vasiliki, for the presentation of our events. So I hope some of you will register to the coming study visit in Prague, or to the next events like mutual learning that you will learn more right now. So to conclude the presentation part, we will focus on coaching and follow-up funding, a topic that is crucial for the sustainability of research and innovation results. And I think it's fair to say that many of us here would like to know how to secure funding to continue research or scale up project outcomes beyond the current grant that we have. So this topic will be presented by Ian Gauci-Borda from Księdza Malta, a widerAdvance facility partner specializing in follow-up funding strategies and synergies. So Ian, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marika, and good morning, everyone. Actually, good afternoon now, because it's past 12. So from my side, I will be presenting you with the main actions we have in this facility related to synergies. So one of the most important elements when valorizing your research results is always to create the right environment for follow-up funding. That would be the most important tool that you need to valorize your research results. And through my presentation today, I will be going through the instruments that we have with regard to addressing this follow-up funding part of your valorization. So to start off with, I would like to follow up from what Katarzyna said earlier, that in February we are planning to organize a mutual learning, the first mutual learning actually of the facility. So the mutual learning will focus this time on effective dissemination exploitation practices and project results. The idea is to focus most primarily on capacity and how to leverage the funds coming from ERDF, for example, coming from national funds, maybe any other international funds, etc. In the work that we have been undertaking so far, we have been mapping these initiatives, and we have been mapping also EU funds that could be used to follow up. In fact, we have a funding matrix which will be shortly live on our website. The first, as I said, the first mutual learning will be showcasing existing success stories to potential academic applicants. So there you will get a first-hand experience on how other projects have undergone this valorization process from inception of the project until the full valorization of the research results. And then the second one will then focus more on the success stories coming from the academy. So our aim is to have a second mutual learning later in the year, later in the project, so maybe in 2026 or 2027, where we will be able to show experiences coming from within the project. The target audiences in both cases will be the service beneficiaries, but not strictly. We will also accept participants from outside the facility who would like to get more knowledge on these synergies, At the end of each mutual learning, we plan to have a set of recommendations which will be discussed, which will initiate like a policy dialogue with the service beneficiaries to be able to come up with a recommendation which will go to the research attaches, to the commissions, to the European Parliament. So through the ITRE committee, we would try to have a set of recommendations on how synergies can work better for the applicants. So basically giving the participants in the mutual learning, we want to give them a driving seat, okay? So here is the announcement for the first mutual learning. I encourage you to participate. This will be held on the 11th of February, and it will be held also in Prague, back to the other events which were mentioned early in the presentation. So a second service that we are delivering is this coaching service for synergies. So for normal applicants, synergies seems to be a little bit of a difficult or a gray area. So when we talk to our clients and we tell them, look, you should use synergies, the first reaction is normally, I'm very afraid to maybe change program or get new funding with new rules. So most researchers are most of the time confined to one program, and this is where the problem arises, because when you are confined to one program, such as, for example, the Horizon Europe program, there might not be the full extent of opportunities that there are out there for you to exploit your research results. So the objective of our work is to help the applicants go beyond this, okay? So go beyond Horizon Europe and find funding wherever they can and at whatever time, because sometimes timing is very crucial for synergies, because sometimes with timing, you have certain programs which are not open at the time that you need them to be open. So that could be an issue. And our coaching service then is geared to address this. So basically, our work is to sit down with the service beneficiaries, go through what cares they have, and see how we can place them in programs which are available. It's a one-to-one service. So basically, we sit down with them and we discuss certain issues related to their key exploitable results, and we help them with navigation through the EU national and international programs, funding from Cascade Fund. So we don't limit ourselves to just large international programs, but we also go down we boil it down to cascade funds, business angels, for example, private investing, crowdfunding, any opportunity that may arise. We do help with finding new partners, alliances, assistance with ideas for a business plan, maybe pitch decks, but just general ideas where they should position themselves in new programs, and possibly licensing issues related to the other programs, so not confined solely to Horizon Europe. We have a list of ambassadors, so you can see the list already here. It will shortly be online. So the ambassadors that we have are responsible for geographical areas around Europe where they will be able to conduct the one-to-one coaching. In some cases, it will also be possible to have the coaching in the mother language of the country where the coaching is taking place. Then apart from that, we also plan to have some group coaching. So we plan to have around 5 group coaching sessions. They will be all online. The topics to be selected will be topics which come up frequently from the one-to-one coaching. So we will be monitoring the issues arising up from the one-to-one coaching sessions, and we will organize a group coaching session on specific topics which are of common interest to the service beneficiaries. The focus will be mostly on the funding aspects of the valorization process, and Scienza Malta, which is my organization, and XIC, who are the task leaders, will coordinate the experts, and other experts might be invited to deliver these coaching sessions. So I give the floor back to Marika. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian, for the presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the overview of widerAdvance facility services. And what makes our project special is that this support that you hear today about is free, tailored, and designed specifically for organizations in widening countries and outermost regions, and delivered by experts who work with those services on an everyday basis. So please, this is your chance to ask them directly about your own needs. Go to Slido, scan the QR code on your screen, and make the most of this opportunity by submitting your questions now. So let's move to the Q&A session, and I'll be grateful if we could share the questions right now, because I've seen there are some of them. So let's move to the top. How will we choose the services that are available, or will you assign specific services according to key exploitable results? So maybe I will ask Lorenzo, who is responsible for Dissemination Exploitation Academy, to answer this question.
Yeah. Thank you, Marika. It's not because we are responsible for the academy, because this academy is already a service. The point is that the beneficiaries cannot choose services by themselves, but during the application process or right after the application process, there will be an interaction with applicants, and we will discuss together with them which are the most suitable services that we would suggest to them to participate to. So generally, the academy is the basic one. It means that it is proposed to the applicants as a basic one. Other services are evaluated case by case. So we have to go through an in-depth assessment to see if there are the conditions to directly access support on standardization, support with intellectual assets, or preparation to match third parties. So selection is not up to the applicant. This is the short answer.
Yep, thank you. So the next question, our research teams must commit to participating in all training sessions? Will the training dates be coordinated with them? And what if eventually someone is unable to attend? I believe it's also a good question to you, Lorenzo.
Yeah. So in the facility, there are many different typologies of training sessions. There are training sessions during the academies, training session at webinars. So if we are talking about the academies, for example, obviously when we propose someone to participate to an academy, we expect that the participants then will participate to the different workshops and activities that are organized. Obviously, we cannot force anyone to participate. This is clear. However, generally the sessions are recorded, so can be made available to those that could not participate. But then, as you can easily understand, recorded sessions are not interactive at all. So the presence at the workshops is always recommended. The dates to participate to the different workshops of the academy or the preparation to match third parties are agreed case by case with all the selected beneficiaries. So the expert will quickly consult, generally at the beginning of the service, when is the best date to start with the first workshop. Then during the first workshop or right after the first workshop, the expert agree with participant about the date of the second, and so on. The dates of the training webinars and the awareness raising session obviously are decided in advance, so are not decided case by case with the participant. And but if I'm not wrong, and here Vasiliki can help me, they are also recorded and made available on the widerAdvance platform.
Vasiliki, would you like to add something?
Well, yes, of course. Online webinars are recorded and will be made available. Both events will be recorded, or the awareness raising as a type of building capacities event, as well as the in-depth training webinars. But definitely committed teams are at the heart of utilizing the benefits of the facility. Thank you.
Okay, so please, Vasiliki, stay with me for one more question, because it's dedicated for you for sure. So do the selected institutions have to cover the travel costs of their research teams on the on-site training, study visits, or other in-person events?
The answer is yes. They have to cover on their own the related travel expenses for attending matchmaking events, study visit, as well as the services under the academies. Of course, this is a rational number of events, and also potential beneficiaries of the facility can look into, we say it as a tip within their running projects, so that if they have a task which is very closely related to these foreseen activities, then it would make sense. Or if they have a running project, perhaps they could facilitate, the cost allocation by a running widening project, as long as first it is closely related to their dissemination exploitation task or work package, and they can also request the permission of their project officer. I hope I covered all the circumstances.
If I may add one thing on the for the participation to the on-site workshops, as we said in the presentation of the services, the academies, for example, will also take into account efficient use of resources of the facility. This means also facilitation of travels. So, for example, if we have an applicant with 10 key exploitable results, which are selected for the academy, obviously we will organize the in-presence workshop at the premises of that organization. So at least 10 out of the 15 participants don't have to travel because they are already there. In addition to this, when we compose the academies, for example, if we have applicants from the same country or from countries which are next to each other, so from the same geographical areas, obviously we will try to put them together, so to minimize as much as possible travel costs.
Okay, thank you both for your answers. And next,
Marika, may I please add something? Sorry, if I may. I would like to confirm what my colleague Lorenzo says. A huge effort is being done after each cutoff, so that that the academies are very much rationalized in terms of the foreseen traveling effort from the beneficiaries of the facilities. Furthermore, all the current and future events that require on-site presence will be very compact in terms of activities in order to be worth of the beneficiaries' time for traveling. And as they aim to build capacities, long-lasting capacities in personnel of the beneficiary organizations, it is worth to devote resources for traveling. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasiliki. And I see many questions right now in regard to key exploitable results. For example, should indirect CARES be produced during the project that started after the end of the eligible widening action, or could they be implemented in parallel? So actually, eligible projects, widening projects, are those from Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe. So some of them might already be finished. So indirect CARES do not need to be produced only after the end of the eligible widening action. They can also be developed and implemented in parallel. So as long as there is a clear and credible link to the original widening project and its results. So what matters for widerAdvance facility is that the indirect CARES build on, extends, or exploits knowledge generated by eligible widening action, even if the follow-up activity started before the original project formally ended. So again, this is assessed by case by case. So when you apply, we look for the timeline connection between projects and the logic of the exploitation, rather than applying a strict after the end rule. I hope that clarified a bit. I don't know, Lorenzo, if you would like to add something and simultaneously answer the other questions. So will you tailor training to wider projects which often focus on internal institutional impact rather than broader scientific, technological, societal impact?
Yeah, this is a good question. And because on one side, obviously, what the European Commission would like to have, it's a kind of return on investment made on research activities. For example, if the European Commission spends €1 million to fund research activities, obviously they would like to see an impact which goes over this value if it's not somehow translated into an economical one. So obviously the broader is the impact, the better is for the key exploitable results. However, we know that wider projects have particular typologies of activities, which is also about building internal institutional impact. This is still an impact. Why not? Obviously, it's easy to understand, which is a much lower impact rather than a broader one. In this sense, this is decided case by case, together with the applicants, which key exploitable results they would like to be supported. Because in some cases, we have to select some key exploitable results, because if you remember, we have limitations in terms of the number of key exploitable results to be supported through the academies or through the preparation to match third parties. Due to this limitation, sometimes we are somehow forced to select some key exploitable results from applicants. In this case, we agree with them which ones they would like to bring further. We can provide suggestions, and when we provide suggestions on which one to bring further, obviously we propose the ones that have or can generate broader scientific, technological, societal impact. But it's not excluded that also the ones that are only focused on internal institutional impact, so it's not excluded that also these key exploitable results can be supported and accepted within an academy.
Thank you, Lorenzo. So in the beginning, you mentioned that any TRL level of key exploitable result is acceptable, but IPR and standardization is TRL 4-5. So how it should be? So that's a very good question. Thank you for raising it. In general, widerAdvance facility is open to key exploitable results to any TRL level. So there is no minimum TRL level required to apply. However, some specific services, such as IPR or standardization support, are naturally more relevant when results are more mature, typically around 4 and 5 and above. So this doesn't mean that lower TRLs are excluded. It simply means that type and focus of support may differ depending on the maturity of results. So still there are some services from our academy that goes with your TRLs. So this is exactly why we work on a case-by-case basis, and this is tailor-made service for you. Okay, so widening project receives all those services. I believe we answered it. So it's tailor-made. So once the TRL are appropriate, then we tailor the academy accordingly and the whole support. Can we have the presentations? Yes, you can. And the question to Ian, I believe. I found synergies part quite important for valorization process. Will there be synergies with Digital Europe program?
Yes, so basically there will not be synergies between the facility and the Digital Europe program, but there will be, so Digital Europe program is fairly within our radar. So when I mentioned the funding matrix that we are preparing, this also includes the Digital Europe program. So it comes part of all the other programs that we are mapping to equip the ambassadors to be able to coach their individual service beneficiaries to be able to offer them other options apart from Horizon Europe program. So yes, there will be synergies with the Digital Europe program, but also with others.
Marika, can I add also a comment in that question?
Yes, sure. Yes,
yeah,
sure.
Thank you very much for this question. Well, in a few days, we will have the recording on site we had a webinar, an awareness raising webinar about synergies among EU programs. So we spoke about the interfaces between Horizon Europe and Digital Europe programs, namely what kind of project, habitually the Horizon Europe Fund, and what kind of goals and therefore project activities are funded under the Digital Europe program. Definitely, this is a very good idea for subsequent follow-up webinar. So we take this idea into stock in order to produce an awareness raising webinar on specific interfaces between Horizon Europe and Digital Europe program. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know we extend time, but there is only one question left, so let's answer it. If my organization is involved in a widening project, but key exploitable results come from research or innovation projects, not widening, can we apply for the services? Lorenzo, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, sure. It depends. This is the answer, because as we said in the beginning, key exploitable results can also be indirectly linked to widening actions. So in that specific case, if the key exploitable results come from another program, but are somehow generated as a consequence of the participation to a previous widening action, then they are still eligible. Obviously, we have to verify this linkage. So just to give you another example, if you have a widening project and you are participating to a regional scheme, funding scheme, and you have key exploitable results from this regional funding scheme, if the two actions are not related to each other, then the key exploitable results of the regional funding scheme are not eligible. If the two actions are somehow related to each other, because, for example, they are the skills and the knowledge that you gained from the widening action was used in the regional project, then the key exploitable result can be considered as eligible.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Marika, may
Yes.
I complement something also? The entrance point to the facility is a direct or indirect link with a widening action. The question of the participant probably relates to an indirect link to a widening action. So, expanding on the second example by my colleague Lorenzo, for example, twinning and air projects, etc., especially those in Horizon 2020 were about capacity building. So let's say a research team within an organization was capacitated by advanced partners and reinforced a research direction of the widening partner choice. Okay, that led them to more visibility and to join more consortia, other research actions or innovation actions. So if this, let's say, started as by way of a widening action, this research team can launch an application, okay, as long as that the link between the widening action and the research result they bring in can be established. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Siliki. We passed the time, but there were plenty of very interesting questions. So thank you all for joining us today and for your active participation. I hope this session has given you a clear picture of how widerAdvance facility can support you in strengthening impact, exploitation, and long-term sustainability of your project results. And we strongly encourage you to apply for the facility services, to follow our upcoming online and on-site events, and to share this opportunity with colleagues who could benefit. So please stay connected with us via our website and social media channels. And don't forget that the next application cutoff is 21st of January. And right now, on behalf of the widerAdvance facility, I would like to wish you all a peaceful holiday break and successful start to the new year. So we look forward to staying in touch and hopefully working with you soon. So thank you very much for today and goodbye.